hear these women and what they experienced, what they went through, because they overcame so many trials, and in many cases it would have been easy for them to not become Buddhist. It would have been easy for them to just stay as a wife and a mother and to stay home. And so many of them, for them to leave their homes and to become nuns, actually brought about more suffering for them, because they were subject to ridicule. It was their parents, their families didn't want them to do this, and so they subjected themselves to even greater suffering in order to do this. And to me, that's inspirational that these women, there was something so compelling about the Buddha Dharma that they were willing to do this, to do something that was just so very hard and so many people were against, and yet they had the wherewithal to do it anyway. So I was able to find quite a few names, and I contacted Haju Suman as well. She sent me to Judy Reitman from the Quantum Zen Center, and gave me a few more names. And so it was wonderful the day that we were able to chant these names during the Lunar New Year service. Men and women all together, and just a very simple chant. Mahamaya, Mahapadra. Yeah, so just like that, very, very simple, but knowing some of these women's stories and brought that to life, really brought that chant in itself to life, and just, it gives me chills to think about it, because knowing these names and knowing these women, they were daughters and sisters and wives and aunts and grandmothers, and many of the things that they experienced and they were going through in their lives were so very similar to everything that we're going through today, everything that we experience today, and very inspirational. For myself, my own story, I got into Buddhism because my husband, who's here sitting in the back, he was ordained here through the BSCW. And so I got into Buddhism because he was into Buddhism. And so that's where I started. And then I continued on coming, and we had children, and I brought the children, and then I started getting involved in the children's programs and then in Peace Camp. And so then I was doing Buddhism because I was doing it for my children. And at some point I really had to, I would say probably within the last year and a half, I finally started to come to Buddhism for myself, for now I can see, now I'm doing it for me, and this is something that I want, and this is something that benefits my life. And yes, it's for my husband and for my children still, but for the first time, it really is sinking in, and being able to do this matriarch chant, it really brings it home of like, yes, this is home. Buddhism lives within me. Yeah, I think I'm done.
Well, that's great. So our second presenter is Jong Hai.
Yes.
Okay. And she is a nun, the chief nun at the Triple Crane Monastery, which is located in Chelsea, Michigan. A pretty new monastery. And she's here from Taiwan, where she lived from 2001 to 2016 with her teacher, Master C. Cloud. So she'll share some of her experience. She started a vegetable garden last year also.
Amitabha. That's our tradition. When we start to talk, we always say Amitabha, Buddha's name. Amitabha. And she mentioned my name, Zhonghai. That means many oceans. My master Sea Clouds, he wants me to open my heart. My heart is like so many oceans, accept everything, then nourish many things. So that's my name. And I become a Buddhist and nun in same year, 2001. 2001. I was just out of college. Then I had a very little working experience. When I was out of college for 1 year, I worked in the science laboratory. And I learned Buddhism. They said, wow, Buddhism, what is Buddhism? Because I have no idea. Before that, I didn't learn Buddhism. Then I don't know what is about Buddhism. But after I learned, I heard people say, oh, this is Dharma. And I said, wow, this is good stuff. Then I need to study to spread it out, to help more people. So after I learned Buddhism, then I become a nun in same 1 year. In same 1 year, yeah. Yeah, that's it. Because I think in Taiwan, I was born and grew up in Taiwan. And Taiwan is still kind of conservative. Wives support the family and take care of children, do the simple things, but they also work. So back that time, I was thinking, okay, I can dedicate myself to my husband, my family for whole life, or I can dedicate myself to all the Buddhist society. Same thing, just but in other hand, this small family is one big family. So I calculate, this one is more efficient, more productive. So I choose this way. But the duties all same. We all serve. And back that time, I was a very fortunate person. Back that time, the women in Buddhist society is already very kind of involved. So back that time, in 1991, we already have a female sanghas. Female sangha, many. And I don't know, have you heard Tzu Chi Buddhist Society? That's one biggest Buddhist society back to Taiwan, even the whole world. The founder is a female, a nun. So after I heard female monastic doesn't have position in Tibetan Buddhism, even Theravada Buddhism, I was a little bit surprised. Not common, it's common in Taiwan because we have so many nuns. We have a nun sanghas. So I don't know. So I'm a very fortunate person. And from 2001 to 2007, I stayed in Taiwan, learned from my master, then all the basic Buddhism and different practice. So my major is meditation, what we call the Chan. Then I moved to United States in the end 2007, but back that time we didn't have monastery, so I kind of stayed at home, self-study, until we had the Triple Queen Monastery. So I kind of come back to our monastery to study again and serve again. Because sometimes I need to kind of balance myself and my duty. Because when I just become a nun, I was only 24. 24, have a very little life experience or even kind of social skill. And Buddhism, it's all about the human nature. I lack that part of human the skill. I don't know people. If you don't know people, you don't know how. If I don't know myself, how can I preach? Yeah. So I kind of have a little bit working experience. Then come back to monastery, serve. Now I'm the resident nun and the chief nun at the monastery. I teach yoga, meditation at the monastery, and also I started my garden, vegetable garden, last year. It was my first time, and I was very happy. Whatever I grow, I have harvest, bundles of harvest. So I was very happy that this year I'm continue to doing that. Normally, I stayed alone. I'm alone at the monastery. But during this month, I'm very fortunate. We have 2 more nuns visiting from Taiwan and 2 sisters, lay person. So we all ladies. So we have a lady sangha stay together. That's a wonderful thing, yes. And in Taiwan and our monastery, ladies and men are equal. You just mentioned, right? The nuns or female follower practitioner had the extra precept, right? Our master, Shi Cloud, he ate it 1 more. he told all the men and monks, he said, lady first, always. He said, lady first. The 8 extra precept is outdated. 8 1 more, lady first. Yes, but some we call some older generations or tradition, they still keep this. But most, it's more kind of, we are all more equal. Men and women, monks and nuns are more equal. Especially at our monastery, the chief is all nun now. Yeah, it's all nun. Yes. What else? Then Hayong say something about my practice, right? I can share something about my own practice. My major is meditation, chanting, but I learned Anapana, counting or observing my breath for 12 years. I just count, just enjoy my breath. But in these 12 years, I entered the state not many times. Even I think 10 times, less than 10 times. Less than 10 times, not much breakthrough, but I have very great kind of breakthrough about my physical condition. I used to have a stomach ache because I used to get nervous, overthinking, anxious easily. But after I practice meditation, this doesn't bother me. But I still, sometimes, once a blue moon, I will still have that kind of, we call the panic attack. I still have, but until 2013, our master had a new kind of lineage from India. We practice yoga, so I had a breakthrough. So I'm very grateful. I don't get nervous anymore. That's a wonderful thing for the meditation. So I always share my experience with the meditation student that meditation is not magic bullet. You won't get effect. You won't work in one meditation class, even 1 week, 1 year. It takes years to build up. And not only in the meditation class, we need to apply it in the daily life. Not just come to meditation class, become, then go out, go crazy. No, that doesn't work. It's a whole. But we tried. Yeah. So after the 17 years, this year 2019, right? I have been studying Buddhism since 2001. I still think I have so many questions, so many things to learn. And another great thing that after I came to United States, I met Hayong. Then Hajun is my great model. I knew Hajun is here for almost 40 years. I said, oh, I'm already in the Triple Great Monastery, only 2 years. So I have what? 38 years to go to serve. So Hajun is my great model as a nun. Thank you.
So this is third presenter, Saram Karatalaska, who is in the Dharma Guardian program, which is a training program here at this temple. He's a member of this temple. And it's a training program for lay clergy people to to train people who are out in the world and give them ground them in Buddhist practice in their daily lives. And she's also, she leads the 0 through 6-year-old age group for our children's program. She was running a choir for a while here at the temple and still does some singing activities with our Sangha. And she has 2 kids herself. She's raising at home, and she also started a counseling practice in Ypsilanti, Michigan. She runs.
Okay, so I am the Buddhist newbie here. I am a lay person. I am not a clergy person, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the Therigatha. So in the Dharma Guardian program, we study the sort of background of Buddhism. And my book that I fell in love with, this is my favorite Buddhist study book, The First Buddhist Women, that has poems, awakening poems, or enlightenment poems of the first Buddhist women. Oh, yeah, first edition.
Is that the same with the duck? That's Susan Murcott's. Okay.
Yeah, they kind of
They
did
dropped
it
the
up.
the other one.
It was cleaner. So, okay, so a little bit of background about the Therigatha. You got it a little bit, but they were they're in sanghas all the way. So I guess let me go to why I liked them. So first we studied the Buddha and his path to enlightenment. So he was, the beloved son who got a great education, and then he left everything behind to go study Buddhism. And I can identify with that. Like I'm a modern day society woman where I got the benefit of a great education. I got to work. I got to enjoy my life and think I was really important. And then I had children, which changed my life a lot. So I like that we learned the Buddha's path to enlightenment, and that reading through the Therigatha, there are so many different ways they reached enlightenment. Like there were all the women Buddha left behind. Did you know Buddha had a harem? And when he left, they had no jobs. They were just sort of part of the household. And then, so there were smart, educated women, there were mothers, there were courtesans, there were women from other religious traditions, and they all sort of found a home in Buddhism for very different reasons. So I'm going to share a couple of the poems of the women that sort of struck close to home for how I found a home in Buddhism. So the first one is Padakara. And maybe I liked her because her name is like my street name, Kara. Padakara, Kara. She was sort of the second big teacher after Mahapajapati was Padakara. And she's got a really good story. So she was the daughter of a banker in Savatthi, like a nice merchant town in northern India, like 2,500 years ago. So you think things are totally different in 2,500 years ago? We can't relate. No. So she was the daughter of a banker, but her marriage was arranged to another, wealthy son of a neighboring family. But she really liked one of the family servants. And she liked one of the family servants so much that she ran away with him and moved to a far off, far out of the town to the suburbs, past the suburbs, into the country. And things were good for her there. And then she got pregnant. And when she was pregnant, she decided, I would really like to have my child back with my family. Like, this is good, but I would like to be with my wealthy family back in Savatthi. And her husband sort of put her off. It's like, no, honey, maybe not now. They said he procrastinated. So I'm sure he wasn't too keen on going back to live. And they're able to sort of just turn it a little bit, and it makes their lives so much deeper and richer when they do that. But I will read her poem. When they plow their fields and sow seeds in the earth, when they care for their wives and children, young Brahmins find riches. But I've done everything right and followed the rule of my teacher. I'm not lazy or proud. Why haven't I found peace? Bathing my feet, I watched the bathwater spill down the slope. I concentrated my mind the way you train a good horse. Then I took a lamp and went into my cell, checked the bed, and sat down on it. I took a needle and pushed the wick down. When the lamp went out, my mind was freed.
So our last presenter is Venerable Vimukta Tarani, who is, we're fortunate, she's visiting for a short period from Sri Lanka. She's giving a tour, teaching meditation and Dharma. And she's been a nun for 3 years, but has been practicing Buddhist meditation and Dharma for 17 years. So let's welcome.
A teenager, long ago, started searching for something. The only thing that she wanted was to find why is there no peace in my mind. I have everything. I have toys, I have beautiful dresses, my family is fine, I have a lovely brother to play with, so many friends, lovely teachers, but they give a lot of homework. But then again, there's something deep within. Something is missing. And sometimes this little girl would sit in the garden, sort of a hot summer, gazing across the stars and still wondering, why am I feeling this way? She would have the most wonderful birthdays, the birthday parties with friends, and the lovely Christmases and the presents that you get out of that. Yes, it was very exciting and very beautiful. But then again, after a few hours, everything seems very dull and seems very lonely. And then she was searching. And soon she became from 17 to 18 and 20 to 21, 22. And then suddenly she was in a job which was paying very good money actually. And she was the most youngest training manager that you could actually find who was dealing with cosmetics and training many people in the ways of using cosmetics and the ways of making oneself very beautiful. And then one day, her boss comes to her and says, well, you're very good at this, that's true, but now we need to make a presentation for about 1,500 people, and your CEO is coming to come down from Sweden, and you're going to translate his speech from English to Sinhalese on stage. And that's when she starts cracking up. Now the good image that everybody has of her is suddenly going to be tarnished because suddenly she needs to make this huge presentation in front of 1,500 people, and the person that she's translating is her big boss. So suddenly she wonders what this thing is about. Suddenly she goes back and thinks, when was a time that I was stressed out like this? Oh yes, when I was practicing a dance which was very, very difficult. Very difficult. And what did my teacher teach me at that time? She taught me some kind of way, some kind of breath way to take this breath in and out, and suddenly it made me feel better, made me very relaxed. Maybe I'll try that. And then she goes to this Vipassana Bhavana center, meditation center, and starts looking at a beautiful statue, a Lord Buddha seated in a beautiful lotus flower, so calm, so peaceful, so tranquil, seated and meditating. Maybe I'll try this. And then she starts trying the Anapanasati without knowing the name of Anapanasati. And that made her very relaxed and very comfortable. Oh great, now I have a way to do my presentation in front of 1,500 people and my superior boss coming down from Sweden. And that way she gains some kind of calmness. So she thinks, maybe I'll try this tomorrow morning, getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I practice in and out breath thing, whatever this thing is called, which makes me so calm and so relaxed. And then she does the presentation, translating from English to Sinhalese, and that just works perfectly. Everybody congratulating her again. Oh wow, you did an excellent job. And the CEO comes to her and says, yeah, great job. You are one of the best presenters in Southeast Asia. Oh my God, what a compliment. And now the girl tries to be this best presenter over and over and over again for 5 years, continuously teaching the ways of beautification. And suddenly she finds a man to love and gets married, wanting love more than ever, wanting trust more than ever. And then suddenly a baby comes along. The greatest things of life, joy and everything. But through all of that, it lasts only for a time. And then suddenly everything just vanishes away. The past becomes past. The future becomes unknown. And then this deep feeling of searching all over again. So from 15 to 17, 17 to 22, and now suddenly she is 32 and still searching. Still searching. Ways of meditation, yes, grew with time, but still searching. Still searching. And then suddenly she walks into a monastery. And in the monastery, the first thing that she sees is a sign. And this sign reads something very incredible. It says in the lines of, when you let go of everything, you will receive everything. But when you receive everything, you will want nothing. And I could understand the first 2 lines of this. Okay, when you let go of everything, you will receive everything. Yeah, that is understandable. But when you receive everything, you will want nothing? What is that all about? And then this woman starts searching for the meaning of what does it mean to have everything and not to want anything. What is the meaning of that? And then she starts learning about the depths of Buddhism, the depths of tranquility, calmness, happiness, the happiness of not wanting anything anymore, the happiness of the contentment of having what you need to have and letting go of everything that you don't need to have. The understanding of these words makes a breakthrough. The breakthrough is so deep that she actually realizes everything that there is to be realized. She lets go of everything that needs to be let go of. And then she finds complete calmness and tranquility, which lies within, which is not in the beauty products, which was not in the presentations, which was not among the 1,500 people and being told that she's the best presenter in Southeast Asia, which actually doesn't mean a single thing, because that didn't bring her calmness, and that never brought her tranquility. But letting go of everything that there is to let go of, the wanting, the craving, the more and more needing, as you very well said, and letting go of that brought the calmness deep within. And this woman turns into Vimukta, and Vimukta turns into Tharani. And one fine day she takes a theory, Gathas, which inspired her on this journey. She takes the role of Bhaddakachana Tharani, the wife of Siddhartha, Prince, the soulmate of Lord Buddha, her journey which inspired many, and then learning the ways how she traveled to these different places to teach them. Vimukta Tharani finally found the way, the inspiration, that whatever she has, the calmness, the tranquility, that was so hard for her to find, maybe that this could inspire one living person, maybe in one country. And then I actually started traveling from Australia to Japan, and from Japan to Hong Kong, and from Hong Kong to Thailand, from Thailand to actually Germany, from Germany to England, and England to India, and India to Greece, and from Greece to Canada, and from Canada to the United States. So this story is not just a story. It's about a person who has gone in depths with suffering, who has seen what suffering is all about, and falling over and over again made no sense at all. And suddenly, when you let go of everything, you will receive everything. But when you receive everything, you will want nothing. And that was the calmness that I found, and that is a story that I need to tell you today. May it inspire you to find calmness within yourself and to follow the path of Lord Buddha through the Gathas of Thevi and the inspiration that all of you have given me. Thank you. Everyone,
Thank you so much. We have time now for a few questions, about 10 minutes or so. So any question can either be for one person individually, or if you want to pose a question to everybody, and then whoever wants to answer can respond to the question.
I really enjoyed that book, First Buddhist Women. Do you know, the last time I checked, it was not available. Do you know if it's available these days?
Yeah, I only got it like a few months ago. So yeah, it's just called, it's under a different title now with that. It's just called First Buddhist Women instead of, you search for Susan Murcott.
Oh, okay.
Or you can look at my book, but it's
No,
Amazon.
I want to buy
bookstores that have
copies
it.
regularly and spread them around. I really like
I would like to ask the two monastic women, like, what it took for you to find the depths inside of yourself to leave sort of a conventional life, which is sort of the easy path, to pick up and just say, I'm going for it. And so.
Would you like to answer first?
When I become a nun, I was only 24. So I have not much things to give up. I don't have much to give up.
Your parents didn't have expectations of you, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
My parents supported me. Yes.
Yeah.
Because I already said I kind of compare it. I can dedicate myself to my family or to the big family, Buddhist family. And I think Buddhist family is more productive. I'll go this way. But after I jump in, oh my God, more duties. But today, but no regret. Yeah. It's a big family, different people. I came from a small family. My parents, my sister and brother. But in Buddhist society, you have thousands sisters, brothers. Then we call the elder sister brothers. They will treat you like a granddaughter or your daughter. Yeah, it's not easy. Yeah, but I learned. Yeah.
And if I would answer your question, for me it was like, I could be doing the same thing again, being a mother, being a sister, being a daughter, over and over in countless numbers of lifetimes. But when am I going to give this up and really search for the truth? So that led to so many inspirations and realizations.
Where I have to leave my family behind and forget all about them for a little time, I'm able to take what I find there back to my life and then find ways to just sit and breathe during my most difficult times with my children, which for me is going out the door in the morning and getting them ready for bed at night. So my daily meditation is usually happens while they're going to sleep. And it's amazing how you're able to see things, annoyances come up and fall down, and how in the moment it seems like every little annoying thing your kids are doing is going to last forever. Like they're going to be yelling at each other or making fun of each other for the entire night, right? And then you are meditating, just breathing, I'm not going to say anything, just breathing, I'm not going to say anything, just breathing, I'm not going to say anything, and watching the clock, and it's seriously like 1 minute when I'm watching the clock. Like when I'm not watching the clock seems like an hour, takes 1 minute. So finding that out about myself, like I fly off the handle about something. If I just sat for 1 minute, it would be over. Yeah, and then but I find that if I don't spend time at the temple, if I don't sort of lean on my husband to take care of the kids, lean on the grandparents to take care of the kids, so I can go, I can't do that. So I go stretches where I just can't sit down while the kids are doing stuff. I get wrapped up in it too fast. So for me, I definitely need both the separate life, the renunciant life for a little bit, so I can bring it to my everyday life.
I think the majority of my training has been working with children. Because I homeschool my 3 children, I'm with them 24/7. And leading the children's program in the Grand Rapids Buddhist Temple, being there every Sunday, I found that being able to distill the Buddhist teachings into something that children can understand, all of the things that I was telling them and helping them to realize, like my son who just turned 6, he would get really upset, really, playing a video game or whatever, he'd get really angry because he lost, and just that seeing the emotion in him, and then being able to say, you're really angry right now, I can see that. And just acknowledging it, just being able to say, there is anger, there is sadness. And watching him, just watch it melt away, and that's all I had to do, is just to acknowledge it for him. Working with my daughters, my middle child, anger, would come up, and just realizing that sometimes all I had to do was just sit. Not try to help them make that discomfort go away, not say, well, if you just did this, or, not trying to fix it for them, but to just sit with them in their discomfort, and yes, there is suffering, here it is, right here. And it's no fun. And helping them to work through all of these things and these emotions, and working through it in the context of what I had been teaching every Sunday. Then I started to see it in myself too. I get upset about something. And so the same words that I was using for them, I started to use within my own mind for myself. Here is discomfort. Here is upset. Here is frustration. And just sit with that. And watch it go. Watch it. Here it comes, and watch it go. So the more that I work with the children, the more I realize that as adults, we're really not that much different. We just have better coping mechanisms, is really all it is. But yeah, being able to see it from them, they react so strongly, so very much in the moment, that those emotions become overwhelming to them. And emotions are overwhelming to us. We just, society just helps us to dampen it down. But it's still there. We still have it. We just find other ways to either, suppress it or save it for later, where we can really let it come out. So that's why I say working with the children has really been my greatest teacher over the years, and where most of my training really has come from. Mm-hmm.
I have a question for the monastics. I might ask. In your temples, do you have experience of any men who cook and do laundry and clean for the nuns?
We have a person who drives, yes, but not who cooks. And for security reasons, sometimes yes, we do have, but otherwise in Sri Lanka, the nuns are separate, and the ladies who help to cook and things like that is completely ladies, yes.
Okay. At our mother temple, we take turns, we rotate. We have 8 major positions. So every single one, no matter you are a monk or nun, we take a turns to cook, clean, drive the car. But the heavy duty work, monks will do it.
So I see you all as pioneers in terms of Buddhism becoming established in the West. You visiting, the rest of you living here.
So what are you seeing as pioneers about the people that you're pioneering with?
The more stress levels that the world goes through, I think that's where we need to come in. And the more stress and determinations and this grasping concept that the world is led with, that's where the balance needs to be led to. Not just the balance of balancing the world, but balancing the inner self and the calmness which is within oneself. Because actually speaking, everybody wants happiness and calmness in the end. And that's what we are all trying to search outside from the world. And when that doesn't go very well, then when we are very unhappy here. So it's the way to balance this thing. And mostly I feel that from the little travels that I've had, that people are becoming more and more aware that this really is stress and this really is suffering. That there's something that we don't understand here, but we need to know. And there are more and more people being aware of that. And I really feel that Buddhism has the answer to that, the true and only answer to that.
I would, coming to the temple for our meetings, reading about women in Buddhism and men in Buddhism throughout the ages, and all the men and women practicing Buddhism, especially today. I don't know where I read it or heard it, but there's that one story about like the next Buddha is not going to be a person, but a collective of people. And I feel that sort of buzzing every time I'm at the meetings with my buddy Saban. And we're all so earnestly trying to bring our best selves to this in any way we can to help ourselves and to help other people through helping ourselves. And it's really inspiring and wonderful to be around. So I guess, yeah, Sangha.
That itself is the inspiration, isn't it?
We all know the Buddhism came from India, right? And Buddhism's first spread to China is like easy. It took hundreds to fit into the Chinese culture. And same thing, now Buddhism is coming to Asia, to United States, to Western world. So that will take 100 years, not in 100 years. So we are like in the past people. We are kind of build up the foundation, and we are kind of how to say that, open up a new path to the Westerners. So the past, the masters, all the practitioners are our models. We just need to kind of look at them, learn from them. Then we need to do the same thing like them. That's how I feel when I came from Taiwan to here to preach or to share the Buddhism with the Westerners.
And it's interesting looking at how to do Buddhism here in America, because we have this Christian culture that we're working with, and I find that a lot of people that are coming to Buddhism actually are coming as a way to be opposed to this Christian culture. They want to do something different than that, whether they were had a bad experience with it, or it's kind of countercultural. And so they're interested in Buddhism because it's not that, it's something different from that. And so working with that and working with the people that are coming to Buddhism is interesting because often you'll find sometimes people don't like it if you do things a little too churchy or that seems too religious. I don't know about that. So it's an interesting experience to try to find ways to speak to a different type of American do-it-yourself kind of culture, and to take something that comes from a very different background, a very different culture, and helping it to mesh and work. It's interesting. We do things here very different from how Buddhism is done in the East. And it's an organic process that's just going to work itself out as we continue on. So it's exciting to be there on the ground floor. I feel especially for the Grand Rapids Buddhist Temple, we are an independent temple. And so just figuring things out and how we're doing it without having that the backing of other temples before us, and how are we going to do this for our society and our Sangha in this mid-Michigan location or Western Michigan location. So, but it's exciting and challenging, but hopefully will bring good things about in the future.